In this video, I'm taking a look at what might be the best budget smartphone for under $200, the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus. Hey YouTubers, Christopher here, and on this channel I make weekly gadget and tech reviews, so if you are new here, definitely consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And hey, if you'd like to know more about anything I mentioned in the video, I'll leave a link in the description below. So the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus was announced earlier this year, and I finally decided to pick one up. If you're interested in picking up the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus, it sells on Amazon for $185 US, or $260 Canadian at the time of filming, and it comes in 3 different colors: black, gold, and blue. I've been using it for a little over a month now, so I've really had a chance to really use the phone and even customize it a bit. And coming from an iPhone 6 Plus, this is definitely a nice upgrade. And for under $200, the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus has a bunch of very nice features. Straight out of the box, you get the Redmi 5 Plus itself, a user manual, a SIM card removal tool, a micro USB cable for charging, a 5V 2A power brick, and a silicone case which I don't particularly like the look of, but it's definitely nice that Xiaomi included it. Starting with the build quality, the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus has a very sturdy aluminum back, with only the top and bottom ends being made out of plastic, which gives the phone a very premium look and feel. With a length of 6.24 inches, a width of 2.97 inches, and a thickness of only 0.3 inches, the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus is quite comfortable to hold in the hand. But the aluminum back is quite slick, so I definitely recommend using the included case, which will give it a better grip. But I'll also link to a couple of other options down below as well. Everything on the back of the phone is nice and symmetrical, with the camera, the flash, and the fingerprint sensor aligned down the center of the phone. Around the front, the screen is made of Corning Gorilla Glass, and you get a decent sized 5.99-inch LCD display. The side bezels are fairly slim, but the top and bottom bezels are a little bit chunky, but not as big compared to other phones like the iPhone. The top bezel houses a selfie light, a proximity sensor, a notification light, a speaker for phone calls, and of course a front-facing camera. Along the top of the phone is a headphone jack, and there is also an infrared sensor which can be used with the Mi Remote app to control your TV. On the right side of the phone is a power button and the volume up and down button. Over on the left side is a dual SIM card slot which can hold either 2 nano SIM cards or 1 nano SIM card and 1 micro SD card. At the bottom of the phone is a microphone for making calls, a micro USB port for charging, and a single speaker for listening to music and watching videos. Powering the device is an impressive 4000 mAh built-in battery that easily gets me a day and a half of battery life with regular to heavy usage. For security, the Redmi 5 Plus has a fingerprint sensor on the back just below the camera. The fingerprint sensor is very fast and works about 99.9% of the time, even with slightly wet fingers. The Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus is running off an octa-core Snapdragon 625 processor with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. The Redmi 5 Plus is running MIUI over top Android 7.1 Nougat, and I really like how Xiaomi didn't put a lot of extra bloatware on the device, helping to keep things running smoothly and making the whole experience very pleasant. Doing regular day-to-day tasks is a breeze, and it handles multitasking very well. Games run smooth with no issues of lag or dropped frames, and overall everything runs super snappy. For the display, the Redmi 5 Plus has a 5.99-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 2160 by 1080 and an 18:9 ratio. The larger aspect ratio is really nice when watching YouTube videos, but if videos are uploaded with a 16:9 ratio, you do get little black bars on the side unless you zoom in. The colors are nice and vibrant and everything looks sharp. The screen gets plenty bright enough outdoors, so no complaints in that department. The audio quality for making phone calls is very good, and it sounds very clear on both ends. For listening to music and watching videos, however, the audio quality isn't as good as I'd liked due to the single downward firing speaker. It's very clear and gets plenty loud enough for you to hear, but it sounds very flat. For taking photos and video, the Redmi 5 Plus has a 12 megapixel f2.2 for the main shooter. The camera does very well both outdoors and indoors with bright lighting conditions. Image quality is very good, and photos are sharp and detailed, but I would have liked to see some more contrast, as the images are a bit flat. The HDR does a nice job of restoring detail in the blowouts without overexposing the rest of the image. Nighttime and low-light photos are pretty good at best. Images end up being a little bit soft, but you can still see what's in the picture. There is quite a bit of noise, and sometimes images turned out blurry due to the lack of image stabilization. You can shoot video in either 1080p at 30 frames per second, or 4K at 30 frames per second. There is also the option to shoot slow motion video in 720p at 120 frames per second. For the selfie camera around front, the Redmi 5 Plus has a 5 megapixel f2.0 shooter that gets you some pretty decent images with high contrast and pleasant colors. The front-facing camera shoots video in 1080p at 30 frames per second, which is decent enough for vlogging or IGTV. Overall, I think the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus is a fantastic budget smartphone that can hold its own against some mid-range smartphones. One of the things I really like about the Redmi 5 Plus is the ability to get rid of the navigation buttons and use gestures instead. But there are a few things that I don't really like as well. First, I wish Xiaomi went with USB Type-C instead of micro USB. I mean, come on, it's 2018, and most smartphones, including some budget smartphones, have already switched over. Another thing I don't like is a single speaker for audio. Like I mentioned before, although the audio is plenty loud enough, it still sounds flat. And because it's a down-facing speaker, it tends to get covered by my hand when holding the phone in landscape. I'm also not a fan of the headphone jack. I'm happy that Xiaomi decided to include it, but I don't like their choice of placement. When you have the headphones plugged in, the cord either dangles over your hand or over the front of the phone itself and gets in the way, so I would have preferred to see it at the bottom of the phone. But other than those few things, the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus is an amazing smartphone for under $200, and it could definitely be the best budget smartphone of 2018. But what do you think of the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus? Do you think it's the best budget smartphone of 2018? Let me know in the comments below. If you did go on to enjoy this video, or it helped you out in any way, feel free to hit that like button, and consider subscribing for more weekly content just like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.